Hey, Link, did you sense that you referenced yesterday that your team had really good practices? So did you sense you were maybe on the verge of a performance like this? Maybe not all the home runs, but just ready to come out and take care of business?
No doubt. I've told you guys when we lose, like it's tough. Like it was a tough week because we try to demand that we play the game a certain way. You have to execute and you have to perform at a high level to beat anyone on the schedule, including guys today. All week, it was just a tough dynamic because we knew we didn't play well enough, and it was a bitter taste. So, these guys are hungry. I mean, there wasn't a lot of crazy stuff that needed to be said or done with these guys. We just needed to play. Like, we needed to play another game, and that's what happened today. And I think if you had to bottle up what our team has been able to do this year, I think you saw most of it in this game. There are games here, I've talked about our field and the conditions where you cannot hit a ball out. And then this is the first time I've played obviously a June game here. I don't know when the last one was, but when it warms up, sometimes that ball carries a little bit. And it was nice for some of the guys to get results of balls going out of the park and open the game up. So very pleasing.
And then a couple of key moves you made. You dropped Nico down to 6th. You brought Bertrand back out. They both responded in kind. What does that maybe say about their maturity and their mental makeup, and how valuable is that example, not just today, but for the rest of the weekend and moving forward?
Well, they're intelligent kids, and they're savvy enough about the game to know when we're trying to do something, it's in the best interest of the team, and then them as individuals. So there's a couple layers to this. Bertrand, it was a tough matchup against Virginia. It was tough, and this group had a lot of left-handed hitters that like the action game and small ball, and he handles that stuff very well. And we thought it was a good matchup. So what happened at Virginia didn't enter my mind other than disappointment for him to have to go through an outing like that. I talked to Nico before the game. I'd been thinking a lot about it for a couple reasons. Number one, just to bunch our 3 runners together at the top. You have Myers, who can run the bases, Cole, and Jarrett. In a group of 3, I think that opens up some other facets of our game. We saw it on the hit and run type play where Cole shot the ball in the corner. And just to give Nico a chance, when you're in the 3-hole, and there's a lot of focus on Nico in our program, rightfully so, but I just wanted him to be able to just have a different feel and a look and let the game develop a little bit before he got his first at bat. And, it worked. Those balls were just annihilated. I'll be interested to see on the TrackMan what I guess we don't even have the TrackMan for this, so we won't know the exit velocities, but that was really good. And that dimension of our team is something we need, and happy for him today because he had been pressing a little bit, and when you're pressing and punching out, it's not fun. And today was something he'll always remember.
And then last thing from me, you get the complete game from Bertrand. How well does that set you up for everything you might possibly want to do the rest of the weekend?
Well, you can't ask for more than that. The decision we were breaking down in the 6th inning as we were going through that, like, do you try to get him out of there if you end up in a Monday situation? Do you save some pitches? And the way it was going, we just felt like it was probably better for the group to just let him go. And now you have everybody back. So we'll just piggyback it like we have all year and try to use our righties and lefties in opposite type settings so that they don't get a repeat look at the same thing too much. And but you can't ask for any more than to go through game 1 using 1 pitcher. We didn't even have to get anybody up, hot, nothing. So can't be better off. And you get the afternoon to rest, which is one of the reasons, maybe wasn't a popular reason, but it's nice to get that win and kind of sit on that win now all afternoon and let the other guys battle it out and then get ready for tomorrow night. So Bertrand was great.
Thanks a lot, Link.
Chuck Freeby, you're up next. Link, what made John Michael so effective today? What was working for him?
Well, fastball to both sides, and he manipulates the fastball a little bit. You can see him from, my angle. Sometimes he'll try to turn that little two-seam fastball over, and it's not a changeup, but you're not getting the same fastball every fastball that's thrown. So he can sink it away from the righties. He can run it in on the lefty, and he can also four-seam it and kind of manipulate it away to the lefties too, or into the righties. So he's got real feel for that. I guess his breaking ball got better. He had some 0-2 mistakes early. And about the third inning, he figured out just sometimes it takes a few in a game to throw that breaking ball to get it where it's down and Dave's blocking it, which is what you want as you try to punch people out. Changeup was not a huge factor. He got a few outs with it, but it was more fastball command, the curveball, occasional slider, and then a few changeups. But it's just his ability to manage what he's doing and pitch. Like he pitches. What did he punch out? 6 guys, and we played a couple nice double plays and ground balls, and you kind of saw the recipe for him to be successful. And he's just very in tune with what he's doing. The play he made at third base, where it's kind of a weird ball that off that turf, sometimes it doesn't bounce like it would off the clay, so it doesn't get to your third baseman like it. And he went over there and threw that thing, spun. He's just an athlete and very present in what he's doing out there.
Did the approach on Taylor change after the first time through the order, or was it just a matter of seeing him?
I think it's just seeing it, Chuck. The guys knew going in. Like, we watched the video. You could watch video on him for 10 years. You're going to see the fastball, but until you're out there in the batter's box and see it from that vantage point, it's tough. And that's why they're in this tournament. Like, he is a high-level arm. It's tough, and he has chewed through a lot of teams. And I felt like he was on his way to doing that to us. But I think there's not going to be anything at any point, as long as we play this year, that something will surprise us, because the arms that we saw throughout the course of this season in the ACC with 36 games, man, nothing's going to surprise us. So once they can calibrate it and it registers, it's not something that is out of the realm of possibility for them to adjust. But there wasn't any physical maintenance that they did. It was just seeing it and trying to maybe get a little bit more on top of it. And they did a great job. Great job. The base running helped too. We ran the bases pretty good, other than Coatsy kind of got a little too aggressive, but pretty good.
Last one for me. Nico mentioned the chip on the shoulder. You kind of alluded to the fact that you thought you should have been a national seed last week. How much of that chip on the shoulder mentality did you see with your team today?
It's been a frustrating week. You feel like you did so much. You win the championship outright, but you didn't really get a moment on the field where you won it. I watched Duke beat NC State. JT's on NC State's team, and they're dogpiling and cooler, and we didn't really get that moment. So you're kind of winning something during final exams here, which is great. And then it ended they were just kind of frustrated with the way the Virginia game went, and you go to Virginia Tech and sweep them, and it kind of is just ho hum, which is really hard to go somewhere and sweep somebody. And they were just been upset. And then the national seed thing, I'm not in those. I've been on some of those calls before. There's a lot of things that go into it. I don't know how they came to that, but if you play that caliber of baseball, then you're one of the best teams in the country. Nobody can argue. They can seed you how they want. And but you could tell the guys it bothered them a little bit, but you can't let that overwhelm you to the point of not functioning like you have played all year. You just still have to go play mad, not mad. You got to go perform, and they did.
George Bashura, you're up next.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on a great win today.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Bertrand really quick. He was a little struggling there early in the game. And like you've done in the past, the right time to go out there and to settle him down. What was the conversation between you and him and he definitely responded, and he got the double play ball, I believe.
Yeah, that was Chuck that went out, and Chuck makes most of the visits because he's hands-on with those guys as the pitching coach a little bit more than I am. So I just think he wanted to just settle him a little bit. And like, you can pitch to contact and keep the ball in the lanes you're trying to pitch to and be effective. And that's what he's done all year. And this setting was far different than what we've seen all year here at home. But Chuck just went and tried to just calm him down and let him catch his breath. And we got probably the 4.63, I think, at that point. So he's a mature kid and he thinks. And sometimes, you know, if Chuck's calling the pitches, and if he feels like maybe Bertrand's trying to do too much with the pitches, just to go, not let him, you know, think too much about it, just execute, and good things happen when he keeps the ball down and it's on the ground. And that's what is going on today.
And the last one for me, Coach. Basically, you guys had muscle up and down the lineup today. What's the message you go back and talk to the guys about enjoying today and then getting back to business tomorrow?
Yeah, like motivating at this time of the year, that they're motivated by what is at stake. And I think you almost calm and encourage a little bit more than like early on when you're trying to make sure the pieces of how we're going about it are in place how I would want them. And these guys have figured that out. So now it's just, this setting was almost trying to like calm them a little bit and just like, let's go play. Like, it's time to play. I don't want to talk anymore. I write stuff down every game we go out there, and I've got all my notes about what we're doing. And I was tired of talking today, and they were tired of hearing me. So it's good to see them go, like, really get after it and play. And they're good. No message. Just let's do our stuff. Let's go.
Okay, Coach. Thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Mark Skoll, you're up next.
Hey, Coach, you said earlier this week that Paul Maneri said that if you win baseball games, a lot of fans are going to come out. What was it like today seeing that jam-packed house? And I'm sure it got a lot of the guys juiced up too.
Mark is awesome, man. Like, it was awesome. Awesome. And, you know, part of me felt guilty for choosing the early game because people work, and it's hard to just drop what you're doing at noon and come to the game. But it sets the team up for the best chance to perform. And I was so thankful of how people came out here and the energy and into the game, and the end of the game, the last strike, and clapping. And it was great. It was great. And I think people have been chomping at the bit to see our team play. And quite frankly, the guys have been ready to play in front of fans here. Like, it's just kind of unusual when you're playing the caliber of games that we played at this stadium this year on these weekends. And it was fun to finally open it up and let it eat a little bit and let the guys enjoy the fact that people watch and pay attention and recognize their success. Because what the guys have done is very difficult to do. And I probably take it for granted because I'm new here. But I recognized it when I walked in today, and you felt it. And then as people filed in, you go to take infield, outfield, and the stadium is basically full at 12:20. The fans were awesome, and I appreciate everybody taking the middle of the day on a Friday to come watch, because it was just so special for me, the team, and I'm so glad we performed like you would expect our team to perform if you encapsulated our season. That was us today.
You said earlier this week that starting the week with a win is just huge for this tournament. How big is it now that you've got it done?
You get into that early morning game, well, whatever, noon or something tomorrow, and it feels like it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's just, you feel like you're back. You start looking at the bracketing and what it takes to win it, and can be done. I mean, it can be done, but it's designed to happen this way for you. But that design is useless if you don't execute. So it's great. It's much easier. It's not going to be easy with who we have to play, but the bracket lines up for you much better if you go 1-0. And the guys knew that. Like, they know.
And then last one for me. Nico obviously was awesome today. Is he going to stay in the 6th spot in the lineup, or is he going to be moving up?
I've got to look at like kind of who we're playing and what's going on. I don't know that yet. I've got to feel that one out a little bit. Miller has been, if you guys knew what Miller was dealing with for I guess I would say the middle third of the year, 2 months.
2 months from March 23rd to about May 20 something.
Like for 2 months of a 4-month season to deal with. So having him up there is fine. Like you saw it today, he can do a lot of different things. He hit some balls hard. I think did he have one hit? I think he had the triple, but he flushed some balls up left-handed. So, there's a lot of ways you can go about it. If I was making it out right now, I might leave it the way it is, but I don't know who's pitching and what's going on yet against us. We obviously don't know who we're playing. So that'll be something later tonight and in the morning we'll figure out.
Thanks, Coach.
Patrick Engel, you're up next.
It seemed like John Michael kind of got stronger as the game went on. What did you notice out of him where, start to get some of those 1, 2, 3 innings later on, and then obviously the ninth, striking out those guys?
Well, you're seeing their starting pitcher and Bertrand are different. Bertrand's a feel guy. Like he has to pitch to contact a little bit. And when you're manipulating the ball versus like, I'm not, Taylor isn't just throwing the ball, but he beats you with a climbing, riding fastball and doesn't need to throw it in the zone to be effective. Bertrand, he's kind of better off when he's in and in the bottom of the zone, and he can pick a little bit and choose when he works off the plate or up a little bit. So sometimes those guys, once they've been on the mound and they've thrown some pitches and they've seen what the breaking ball's doing in the game, it's hard to duplicate necessarily how it feels in the bullpen and how it looks when you get on the mound. And then you're feeling the hitters a little bit, like what does it feel like they're trying to do? And when you're an intelligent guy like him with multiple pitches, sometimes he does this is not the first time that I would say he's gotten better as the game has gone on. You just start to feel like what the ball feels like and the sweat and the moisture and into the game. And then he started rolling. So I know that's a lot of information, but I really do believe that's how it is for him. And at some point there's only so many bullets in the gun, but he could have kept pitching. Like he could have just kept pitch. That was pitching today. And that art sometimes is lost a little bit. Not with him and some of our other guys. It's really impressive the way he pitched.
Thanks, Link. All from me.
Tim Priester, you're up next.
Link, just one thing. Just Nico talked about you talking to him before the game about moving him down to the 6 hole. Just what kind of reaction did he have when you approached him with that?
It was tough to say. At the end of the day, we thought it was the best thing for our team to win today. I don't know if he was happy, frustrated, mad. I don't know. Tough to say that, Tim. But we thought it gave us the best chance. We were going to try to run on their starting pitcher. And sometimes with Nico, like, you don't want to run yourself into an out with him. So I wanted to almost eliminate that thought and just get him in a spot that maybe allowed those 3 at the top to be more flexible with what they were doing. Because I like it a little more quiet. Now we'll run with Nico up, but maybe not as active as some of the other guys who are at the plate. So I don't know. The reaction was 2 balls over the batter's eye, and that's the reaction. That's the reaction we wanted. So anyway.
I know you said that you're not set yet on how you'll make the lineup tomorrow, but it's got to feel kind of right to you to have Miller in the 3 hole.
Yes, it does. And like those 3 at the top, I like the versatility of the things we can do. Like it gets lost, but when we hit and ran, and it was not just a straight hit and run, it was a play where we were going to take the off-speed pitch. They threw a breaking ball 0-0 to Cole. I thought, all right, they're probably not going to double up. If they do, I think Myers can steal the base. And because Cole had seen some fastballs, we put the fastball in play and try to take the breaking ball. That at bat was one of the reasons I wanted to group those guys up there. And, it worked. It doesn't always work and it doesn't always line up, but today it did. And then we quieted things down and Nico was up and he did what he's done so many times this year. So it worked today.
That's good for me. Thank you.
Aiden Thomas, you're up next.
Hey, Coach. I was just wanting to talk about your guys' approach to Taylor today. Obviously, you had seen some film and had some reports on him coming in. What allowed you guys to kind of make the adjustment after the first time through the lineup and really start squaring up his fastball and attacking him, fourth, fifth, sixth innings?
Well, I try not to get to a point where we're panicking over what's going on because it's a long game and you've got to give them a chance to process what's happening when you're seeing somebody that's like extraordinary with their stuff. And they recognize that the secondary pitches were maybe a little easier for them to pick up. So then that made them lean more on the fact that I got to sell out for the fastball and maybe not try to hit it the other way as much as try to hit it back through the middle. So it's their perception, and people ask about the team, and I was saying like the guys engage in the game. And if you're not watching and talking and trying to figure it out, then he would have done what Bertrand did. But they did. They're just perceptive. And they knew what was coming at them. But until you've seen it, it's still, all the video and analytics in the world still can't match what one of them looks like. And then once you've seen one, it gives you a shot. But he was actually cutting it. So the balls away to the righties into the lefties actually had a little cut to it. And you couldn't see that on video. And they picked up on it, and he still pitched okay, but we did enough. And when the ball goes over the fence, scoring in bunches kind of is deflating for anybody you play. So they just did it, man. They did this, not me. We put them in position, but they had to figure it out.
And then just one other play that I wanted to ask about, just because it might have gotten overlooked a little bit with Nico hitting it out on the next batter, but Brannigan's infield single, and I think it was either the fourth or the fifth inning. What does that kind of like play do? Just hustling out that what looked like a routine ground ball, do to fire up the dugout, even if it was a home run, play after.
No, in this setting, like these guys want to win. They're doing anything they can do to win. Anything that they can possibly do. And Brannigan is the sneaky fast guy on our team. And when he was really rolling out of the box, like he gets down the line probably in 4 seconds flat or maybe a little less. And, not many people have seen that. And he just flat out just beat it. He kind of outran the play. It's big. And I thought about running him because I couldn't tell if the third baseman was actually the shortstop. And how many times has the third baseman covered second base on a steal? I almost ran him, but I just kind of wanted to let Nico settle in and, not take a chance at running ourselves out of an inning. So it worked out. Like the buttons today seem to work. Hopefully that continues.
Appreciate it, Coach. That's all for me.
Any other questions for Coach?
They're tired of hearing me talk, probably.
All right. Oh, Patrick Ebert.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have the raise hand button on my thing, but Coach, wanted to ask you specifically about the defense. You mentioned it a few times already. I thought that play that Bertrand made off the mound to end the fifth, and then those 2 double plays to end the sixth and the eighth, I mean, that really set up him going the distance in this game. Defense obviously been an asset for you guys all season long, but can you speak specifically to that?
Well, if you go in our outfield, I think you have 3 guys that are capable of playing center field, and they really take a lot of pride in it. And we talk about our field, it can play big and it can play small, but even today when it's playing small, you have a lot of ground to cover. And those guys were catching balls at the fence all over. Our infield, I've talked about this a few times. Brannigan had never played third. Preisner hadn't played short at the college level, and Miller had played short, and we moved him. So like Preisner today, the ball, he kind of gathered himself a little too much and had to force it and made the one throw. But like they've grasped how to do this and how to play their positions, even though a lot of it was new, especially in the infield. We do so much double play work that it becomes an expectation. Like we expect to turn those, and the repetitions around the bag, when somebody's sliding in there and you've got this type of game, like just being comfortable moving and handling different types of feeds that you get when you're the one making the pivot, and also how to really give a good feed so the pivot becomes easier. Our guys have enjoyed becoming good at that. And when you start to see that facet of the game maybe separate you from the other teams you play, they're more hungry to be better at it. So it kind of snowballs when you're good at it. And when you don't make a play that should be made, the guys are like, they're furious, like they're so upset with it. So that's when you know the pride and the expectation starts to fuel further development at the positions and in the game. Really has been a critical part of our team, maybe the most critical.